Welcome back. You're watching Powerline South Africa. Now, South Africa's auditing profession has been thrown in disarray following a string of scandals involving companies such as Tonga Tulett, VBS, Steinhoff and KPMG. Now, what is being done to clean up the profession? Fifi Peters has been able to find the SAICA CEO, Freeman Nomvalo. Fifi, over to you.
Yeah, that's right, Godfrey. I am here with Freeman out and about in Ilovo where their offices are. And we are going to really speak about what has been done to clean up the accounting fraternity. I mean, this is something that he said that he wanted to do, in fact, to restore trust within South Africa's accounting fraternity when he got appointed in January. But he does join me right now. And Freeman, thanks so much for your time. If we can just begin with the biggest elephant in South Africa's room right now being Steinhoff. Can you help us understand, I mean, since the release of the PwC report and also the release of the 2017 financial statements, what is SAICA doing with this information?
First and foremost, the report has not been released to SAICA. It's released to Steinhoff board. We wrote to Steinhoff board a while ago requesting that information. We haven't received it yet. Our lawyers have now started engagement with Steinhoff lawyers to see if we can get access to that information. So we don't have what that report says, except what is reported in the media.
Yeah, and when did you write to them exactly?
It was soon after the report was out. It was, I think, beginning of April, I think. That's the time when we wrote.
And to your knowledge, as of now, you still have not received any information from Steinhoff?
As a fact, we haven't received information from Steinhoff, and we have now used our lawyers to engage with their lawyers to try and access that information. The claim that we received was that they never received our communication, and we're trying to sort that out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Freeman, the PwC report in essence revealed what many had known. The fact that, I mean, things weren't being done correctly there. There was gross fraud to the tune of 6.5 billion euros taking place there for a number of years. The implicated directors, your Marcus Jooste being the former CEO, Ben Lachranji, the CFO, and the others that are named in the report, are they SAICA members?
Yes, Lefranch and Marcus Jooste are SAICA members, as a fact. You, in your intro, you are referring to that the information was known. It came to light at a certain point in time, I think that was 2017, but it relates to activities that were taking place over a period of time. Now, this goes to underline the fact that when people are doing things that are untoward, there's always going to be a degree of concealment to make sure that people do not see what's happening, and that makes it difficult to have tangible information that can be used for prosecution. So that's the difficulty that we've had. There's a lot of information out there. Rob Rose wrote a book, and the other fellow as well wrote a book. James Stein wrote a book as well. They've had access to information because they're journalists. It's easy for people to make information available to journalists. SAICA doesn't quite sit in the same privileged position as the journalist in that regard. But we're doing everything we can to access information that's publicly available that we can use to proceed on that matter.
I mean, obviously, everybody is looking for action and accountability to be had in this regard. We even have the Hawks that are hiring help to help them in their investigations to make possible arrests. So, as SAICA, if you say the likes of Lachranj and Jooste are still members, why?
One, you've got to go through a disciplinary process before you decide on their culpability and what they have actually done, and remove them as members of SAICA. There has been calls, justifiable, of a quicker action, and there are institutes that have got quicker action, even though that action gets taken before you determine the guilt or otherwise of the party, in other words, suspend them. SAICA is considering that, but for that to happen, you need to amend the bylaws. And without the bylaws being amended, you can't just do that. So it is a call that most of our members have raised. I was on a road show in March And most of the members raised that question directly and very, very specifically. And it's an issue that we are looking into, and hopefully with the help of our members, because they have the power to drive the decisions through the AGM, hopefully in that process we will get ourselves to be in a position to do so.
Right. I mean, it's quite startling, because we're talking about starting a disciplinary process 2 years, so almost 2 years after the initial revelations of alleged malfeasance, of alleged accounting irregularities were revealed. I mean, at the point of revelation, would a prudent thing not to have been, as a body yourself that regulates accountants to ensure that they operate to, the best standards of corporate governance? Would it not have made sense to, at that time, start your own investigations or start a disciplinary process at that time?
Oh yes, the process to look into the matter started a while ago, okay. But the ability to access credible information has been the issue. I mean, one of the investigations that were concluded recently that you know of was led by Advocate Nsebeza. I was part of that process. It took us almost a full 12 months to get to the point where we could do the report. So by very nature, when you're going to discipline somebody or you're going to prosecute somebody, you've got to have facts to do so. And to get those facts, you've got to get information that's credible. Right. It doesn't help to have a process for the sake of having a process and losing the case in the end. So the difficulty with the disciplinary processes are that they of necessity take very, very long.
And I mean, in terms of credible information, based on the synthesized PwC report that we have, and also based on those financial statements that were released about a week ago, do you think SAICA has credible information at this stage to pursue prosecution of these two directors and the others implicated?
In as far as the financial statements are concerned, first and foremost, once a case is on the roll, we don't discuss the specific case for obvious reasons. But we've got access to those statements. We're looking at information that was presented in other forums before. We want to be in a position where when this matter comes before the disciplinary committee, we are able to deal with it successfully. And therefore, as an institute, we sit in a position where, while there's a lot of information that makes good reading for news, from a disciplinary process, you need information that is going to stick. You need information that when you deal with the matter, you're going to, if there is wrongdoing done by a specific individual, you're going to be able to prosecute them and prosecute successfully. Okay. And that is the difficulty that not just SAICA, any other regulatory body would find itself in. Right. And hence all of the prosecution issues, even in the criminal processes, they take long.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Freeman, let's leave it there for now, because you and I are going to continue in a conversation. Godfrey, unfortunately, I have to hand it back to you, but we will still be in conversation with the SAICA CEO, Freeman Nomvalo. In fact, CNBC Africa will be putting together a young special on that regard to flesh out the issues, really understand, I mean, exactly why the disciplinary process takes long, how it actually works, and also what the toughest measures of sanctions are that can be levied against a character like Marcus Uesta or Ben Lachranji, who have been implicated for alleged accounting fraud. Let's leave it there, and let me hand it back to you, Godfrey.
Thank you, Fifi. And also, should we believe the next